What's up, my scrubs? I'm Riko Siempre RN, Vtuber RN educator and registered nurse in real life. I've been asked by my buddy, Mr. Aegis, to give y'all a little snippet how healthcare workers, like myself, handle blood transfusions. Blood transfusion is used to replace any kind of blood product that the body needs. It can replace lost blood, treat blood disorders, and support major blood components. Transfusions can range from whole blood, packed red blood cells, platelets, and most notably, and famously among VTubers, plasma. In the United States, blood transfusions occur every 2 to 3 seconds, translating to over 40,000 units of blood products being used daily for trauma, surgeries, cancer, and other illnesses. Please note, although I am a registered nurse, I do not work at a hospital. I work in the outpatient setting, specifically as a clinic manager for an outpatient hemodialysis clinic. My clinic specifically does not perform transfusions. However, there are clinics that do. One of the big reasons as to why the condition of someone's blood is something that I need to know as an RN in outpatient is that dialysis is unique in that the kidneys affect the blood. In fact, blood and their different components is something I work with daily. You may not know this, but the kidneys are responsible for telling your body, specifically the bone marrow, to create more red blood cells via hormones. If the kidneys are injured or no longer working, those hormones are no longer released. And so, if the hormones are missing, then the bone marrow doesn't receive the signal to create more red blood cells. Ergo, you can become what we call anemic. Anemia is a condition where the blood lacks enough red blood cells and/or hemoglobin, which result in insufficient oxygenation of the body. Hemoglobin is the protein on the red blood cell that carries oxygen from the lungs into the different parts of the body via the cardiovascular system. If I have a patient that does not have a high enough hemoglobin, I may need to send them to the hospital per MD order for them to receive a blood transfusion. However, just because I haven't participated in a blood transfusion in some time doesn't mean I don't remember how it's done. The first step in the process is confirming the doctor's order. The nurse checks the patient's medical chart to make sure the transfusion is necessary and appropriate. Next, the nurse explains the procedure to the patient, answers any questions, and obtains consent. This helps ensure the patient understands what will happen. Before the transfusion begins, the nurse performs a baseline assessment. This includes checking vital signs such as temperature, blood pressure, heart rate, and oxygen levels. These measurements are important so the nurse can recognize any changes once the transfusion starts. One of the most critical steps is verifying the blood. 2 trained healthcare workers, usually nurses, carefully compare the patient's identity with the information on the blood bag. They confirm the patient's name, medical record number, blood type, and expiration date. This step helps prevent dangerous transfusion errors. Next, the nurse prepares the IV equipment. Blood is only given using special tubing that includes a filter to remove any clots or debris. The nurse connects the blood bag to the IV line and ensures the tubing is free of air. When the transfusion begins, it starts slowly. The nurse closely monitors the patient during the first 15 minutes, because this is when the most reactions occur. The nurse watches for symptoms such as fever, chills, rash, difficulty breathing, chest pain, or back pain. If any of those signs appear, the transfusion is stopped immediately and the healthcare team is notified. Throughout the transfusion, the nurse continues to monitor vital signs, usually every 15 to 30 minutes. The nurse also checks the IV site to make sure there is no swelling, pain, or leakage. The transfusion must be completed within a safe time limit, usually within 4 hours, to reduce the risk of infection or complications. When the transfusion is finished, the nurse performs a final assessment, records the patient's vital signs, and documents the procedure in the medical record. The patient is also monitored afterward to ensure no delayed reactions occur. In summary, administering a blood transfusion is a careful and highly monitored process. Nurses play a key role in ensuring patient safety, preventing errors, and responding quickly to complications. Their attention to detail helps make blood transfusions a safe and life-saving treatment. Unfortunately, low stock of blood supply is always an issue, as only less than 10% of the eligible population donates annually, resulting in a constant need for donations. If you're familiar with the TV series, The Pit, it showcased an emergency situation, specifically a mass casualty event, that resulted in the hospital burning through their current supply in a matter of hours. As you know, blood donations aren't just used for emergencies, but also for the health maintenance of chronic conditions affecting the blood. Clinicians can be put in precarious positions of needing to decide which patient needs a transfusion, a very difficult moral and ethical dilemma. The following is an example of a case study that is taught in bioethics classes as part of many professional healthcare curricula. Graciela is a 75-year-old woman admitted to the ICU with severe abdominal pain and breathing problems. Her family says she has been very tired, in constant pain, and showing signs of serious illness. After many tests, doctors determined that she has multi-organ failure that cannot be cured. Even with treatment, she is expected to live only 3 to 6 more months. Doctors explained the situation to Graciela and her family. They are devastated. Her son Roberto asks if anything can be done to help her get better. While they hope for a miracle, Graciela says that if she cannot be healed, she wants to be kept comfortable at home with her family. The medical team asks for a palliative care consultation, which focuses on comfort rather than curing disease. The palliative team recommends pain medication and blood transfusions to help Graciela feel better and stay alert. However, the attending doctor is concerned. There is a national blood shortage, and blood must be used carefully. Other patients also need transfusions, including Julian, a 22-year-old with sickle cell disease who could live much longer with continued treatment, and trauma patients who need blood to survive emergencies. The care team struggles with this ethical dilemma. Should blood be used to improve Graciela's comfort at the end of her life, or saved for patients who have a better chance of long-term survival? Because of this difficult decision, the doctor requests an ethics consultation. To wrap things up, blood transfusions are not just a technical nursing task. They are a life-saving resource, a patient safety priority, and sometimes even an ethical crossroads. From ensuring the right blood goes to the right patient, to recognizing reactions, to navigating real-world shortages and moral dilemmas like Graciela's case, nurses and healthcare teams carry a huge responsibility. Whether transfusions are used to save lives, manage chronic illness, or provide comfort at the end of a life, every unit of blood represents both medical care and human generosity. So if you're able to donate, consider doing so, because your blood could one day be someone else's second chance, their stability, or their comfort. Thanks for tuning in. Stay hydrated, stay kind, and remember, dare to care.